Well, I think, the challenging thing about the Indo-Pacific, and I think, it's an exciting and dynamic thing, I think, for businesses and for governments as well, but it's also challenging, especially for a lot of the Western liberal democracies, is that it's very muddy. And I say muddy not in a derogatory term, but I say muddy in the sense that the clear-cut rules or the clear-cut sort of boxes that we have set for ourselves in the transatlantic, the nice multilateral groupings, NATO, OSCE, OECD, the economic forums. We have a lot of them in Europe, and I'm not going to list off all the acronyms and explain what they do. But basically, what I'm trying to say here is that in the transatlantic, we have a multilateralism that may not be perfect. It's failed at times, but we're used to it. I think there's some cohesiveness, even though there's parts of disunity too. Where in the Indo-Pacific, we have nothing like that. And I don't actually think we should aspire for something like that. I don't think there's by no means with, my push for an Indo-Pacific strategy, do I think that, we should just form an Asian NATO. I don't think it's tenable. I don't think the states in the region want it. They all have a reason to balance and to hedge. But what they don't want is coercion or rule by any one state. So I think this is the thing that for states that are not necessarily principal Indo-Pacific actors is really important for them to learn, is that they can engage in the region, they can contribute to the prosperity and security, get wealthy from the supply chains, hopefully add to regional security, but at the same point, really listen. And I think that's been part of the advice I've been giving the Canadian government anyways through their process, is that go into the room, listen 80% of the time, speak maybe 20%. We need to understand, how these governments, how these businesses, how their ecosystems work. One just simple example would be if we had a contingency over Taiwan, it wouldn't be as simple to say, well, this state's putting on sanctions and this state's not. It's all so interconnected, so much more than Russia's economy was globally, that the supply chains pass through multiple states in the region. Multiple partners will be affected. It's not to say that we can't do it, but it's going to be extremely complicated and challenging. So I think understanding that disorder in a way, or that sort of, not cohesive sort of connectivity that we have in Europe, I think is the first step to try to help yourself.